Hi there, this is Kimberly Inez Mays, and I have my little companion today, Kenzo Lorenzo Catsworth Black, and we're going to talk about AI prototyping. And the reason why I think this is so timely is because I know a lot of people who have some really good ideas, and I'm going to talk about some ways that you can prototype very quickly using AI. And later, probably not within this video, but later I'm going to demo some ways that you can use specific tools to prototype. But I just want to talk about prototyping in general within the realm of this conversation. So, what is a prototype? Basically, if you don't know what a prototype is, it's basically an unfinished product used to illustrate an idea or the final product. And I'm currently in the works of prototyping several products and several ideas. And I'm able to do that so much quicker with AI than I ever did before. I have a background. Well, first of all, I'm not going to tell my whole story because I just want to tell you who I am first. So, if you don't know me, I demystify technology for small and medium sized businesses so they can stop duct taping their systems together and start scaling with confidence. Okay. And I do it through marketing, automation, and AI. And so, getting back into the prototyping conversation is so important because if you have an idea, you don't need to spend a lot of time seeing if it's going to be viable, valuable, or not. You can get it to market pretty quickly. You can get it in front of people quickly so you can get that data and get the feedback, and then you can take longer to build out the final product. And you may have seen unfinished products. You may be a beta tester for this particular piece of software, a beta tester for that particular piece of software. Maybe you have beta testers for some of your own projects, whether they're apps, software, even beta testing courses and programs. If you are in the consulting coaching space, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that you need to use AI now because the market's using AI. And Kenzo's got something to say about that. And if you're just listening to the sound of my voice, Kenzo is my black domestic short hair kitty cat. He is 13 years old and he accompanies me in my videos. So let's talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it through the lens of some products that recently came out so you can kind of see where to focus your attention because I think it's so important. So first of all, going back to a little bit about my background, I have a background in business analyst, project management, program design. I've done it all through like tech writing, coding, you name it, web design, web app development, things of that nature. And one of the things that I've always done before starting any large endeavor is to diagram it out, map it out, because without a map, without a blueprint, you essentially build a plane as you fly it, which works in theory. It sounds great. A lot of people work that way. But I need to understand where I'm going, right? I need a compass. I need a GPS. You don't just turn on your GPS without entering your destination. You turn on your GPS and enter your destination so you know where you're going, even though the route that you take might look a little different. Even if you miss a turn or decide to go another way, the GPS will always reroute you to the correct destination. So that is really what the prototype is intended to do. It's intended to be your destination. What do you want things to look like? Or what's the outcome or what's the end goal of things? What's the end goal of sorts? And a couple of ways that I have prototyped some stuff is I'll say number one, if you are in the information space, if you have not developed any software and you may be thinking, okay, Kimberly, this isn't for me, I'll show you some quick ways that you can prototype an idea. It doesn't necessarily have to be an application or a piece of software. So let's say you're a coach or maybe you're a consultant, a trainer, a teacher, you want to give an idea or develop an idea for a course. So let's say you're building out a course or program and you want to know what the end is going to look like, right? And I've done this with a lot of coaches before. So a lot of coaches get caught up in the minutia, the details of what they're going to deliver. And I'm all about what does the end user get and why do they care about such a thing? And with one person, not going to call anyone's name out because I've actually worked through this with several people. We opened up like ChatGPT, any large language model. I asked them, okay, well, what is the final result that you want from this initiative? Whether they're doing a live event or whatever to launch, I said, what does your final product look like? And they're like, well, I'm going to deliver 12 modules and 3 live calls and 7 workbooks. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Those are components of it. But what does the transformation look like? What does the output look like for the person? And they're like, okay, well, it's because it'll save them time or save them stress or change their life or whatever the case may be. And I said, okay, well, what exactly does that look like? What does their life look like now? And what should their life look like after completing your program? Because you can't change someone's life in 8 weeks, but you can help them be on that path. So I said, okay, well, what does the life or what does the situation look like before? And then what does it look like after they take this course or program or whatever? And then they said, okay, well, this is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like after. So then we kind of worked backwards. I told them, okay, let's work backwards from there. All right, so in order to get this result, then what is the path that you're going to take them from A to B? And then we mapped out the path. And then I said, okay, well, let's put this into a large language model. Let's continue to refine it. So we were able to refine something, and it only took about 45 minutes, and his mind was blown, and it was great. And that is a great way to prototype something too, if you just want to see an outline and a blueprint. And with the advances now of OpenAI's models and some of the other models, it can take your idea and actually turn it into a visual. So a lot of times at the end of the chat now, especially if you're using a reasoning model, it'll say, oh, well, do you want to turn this into infographic? Do you want to turn this into slides? Do you want to turn this into a blueprint? And that way you can take those slides, you can take whatever that output looks like, you can put it in front of your stakeholders, you can give it to your business coach, you can give it to your development team. And this is a way that you can now get your idea up and running in a fraction of the time it would have taken you to sit down with a pen and paper, flesh all this out, and give it to someone else, write all the instructions, or write the instructions, or write the slides or whatever marketing materials to convince your stakeholders, right? So prototyping doesn't necessarily have to be a software related thing. But speaking of software, speaking of applications, I do want to draw your attention to a few things, and I'm just going into my notes right now. So right now, as of this recording, it is early mid-June, and so we're going to just talk about some of the things that came out since or recently. And so we're going to talk about, in my notes, I see HubSpot launches first CRM deep research connector to ChatGPT. And I'm going to talk more about CRMs later, but this is actually vitally important where you can now take your CRM and say, okay, well, I need the data from my CRM. I need the data from my customer relationship management to execute and act on my next strategy. So an integration between systems is always a lovely thing because your CRM holds a lot of data. And if you haven't yet, you can check out some of the videos that I did on data management. I know it's not the sexiest topic, but it's important. So you're taking your big source of data, which is your CRM, and now you're connecting it to a large language model, you're connecting it to ChatGPT, and you're really making it smart enough to understand each other. So in that sense, if you're looking to put together a program, a course, if you're looking to put together a new marketing initiative and a project, you can see what people are responding to, and then you can use the large language model to then make inferences on what you should do next. And I know that HubSpot's not the only one that's connected to a large language model or have any AI integration. You also have so many others with AI integration, but that's not the objective of this talk. But the objective of this talk is rapid prototyping, getting things fast. Fast and speed really make a difference. And I am speaking to myself because I work slowly, believe it or not. I do things very methodical, very process driven. I like my I's dotted, T's crossed. But now we don't have that luxury of time. And if you don't have the luxury of time, I'm showing you how to save time and get your ideas up faster, because I know that they're popping into your head at full speed. There's another tool that I know of. I don't really use it that much, but there's a couple of ones that I want to talk about. There's one called Figma. So if you are a UX designer, a web designer, a graphic designer, this is a tool a lot of professionals use to make mock-ups of things, to make screen mock-ups, wireframes, and things of that nature. So now it's saying Figma make from idea to UI in minutes. So you can generate a full app or page design or flows and even dev-ready code via prompt. This is powered by Claude. And this is not really unlike the demonstration that I did a little while ago on Perplexity Labs, where I was able to create a prompt and then get everything that I needed to build out a full dashboard. And that dashboard was not only a static piece of information, but it was interactive. And I think I took me behind the scenes where it actually wrote the code and it actually deploys the code as well. So just because you're not a coder doesn't mean that you can't develop an app, doesn't mean that you can't put something together. And that is just one tool that you can definitely check out if you want to build a concept fast, if you want to build a website really fast, if you just want to see what something could look like. Because a lot of times we have stakeholders, we have people that we need money from, we have people that we need to invest in our ideas and our solutions. We have customers maybe we want to talk to see if this is something that's even valuable, but a lot of people are very visual. A lot of people need to see something in order to get it. So this is a way to create a really fast prototype. And then there's another one, BizChat, Business Plan Prototyping via AI Coach. So I know a lot of people struggle with business planning, roadmaps, funnels, SOPs, things like that. So these are all an essential part of business, especially as your team grows. The larger your team, the more processes you're going to have, the more buttoned up they need to be, and the more documentation will need to be available. And a lot of times people would rather like chew off their own toes than write a document. I like documentation, but a lot of people really don't like documentation. And so this tool right here is a quick way to create roadmaps, outlines, and SOPs. So if you need a roadmap for your investors, for your partners, if you need to just quickly see where you're going at a glance and you don't have time to really sit down, look at a blinking cursor, and then start writing out a business plan, a feasibility study, a SWOT analysis, anything else like that, you can definitely check out something like that. I have not checked that out because I'm just looking at what's come out in the latest news. Typically for those types of things, I'm pretty good at prompting just vanilla ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and I'm pretty good at chain of thought prompting and making sure that I get the output that I want. But if this is something that you don't really have the time or the will to do, you can definitely check out something that will automatically do this for you with few prompts as possible. And then I can't close out without talking about Runway and Manus as well. So these are really quick ways to generate videos for things, dashboards, workable apps, websites, whatever it is that you need. I know for Runway, I'm a little bit out of credit, so I may invest in some more credits so I can check out Gen4. I definitely love a quick video of some sorts. I know that before in the past I said I wouldn't use AI videos except for B-roll footage, but now I think that is changing to the point where we can use it in a way that, yes, it's AI generated, but it also either tells a story, educates, or solves a problem in some sort of way. And you can do that with a few prompts. And these tools are just getting better and better and better. And then Manus, what I was able to do with it is I actually created an app just in a few prompts, I was able to create a workable prototype for something that I'm working on. I was able to describe how I want the home screen and the major screen. So then I can take that and then send it to my stakeholder to see if my stakeholders are on board with the look and feel, so that when I send it to a developer, now the developer has something to build on instead of just reading some text, and instead of me having to go into Photoshop or any sort of UX design tool and have to design that all from scratch. So those were some of the ways that I've rapidly prototyped. So if your clients want proof of concept, if you need to build out rough cuts, if you need to build out quick storyboards, brand guides, whatever the case may be, you can quickly do this with AI. And it goes without saying that this is somewhat threatening to those who are in the professional space of delivering these services as a business. I get it, because I was a web designer as well too. And now all of that, you can just have a website running within minutes. But I do believe that there is a place for all of us. And, just because you used to do website, you can still do websites, and the website you build can be better than the website somebody else can build on their own, even if you both are using AI. So don't think that I'm saying that you want to replace all humans, because you definitely need that human in the loop. But for instances where you just need something up and running really quickly to show stakeholders, to show your designer what you might want. For example, you can use this to work with your designer to convey your ideas and express yourself in ways that you couldn't before. Rapid prototyping is absolutely a game changer, is absolutely key. And this is something that I can absolutely help with if for you and your team. If you need any sort of help with determining your tech stack, which tools to use, how to integrate things, how to automate things, I do have a free 30-minute automation insight session in which we go over what works, what doesn't work, where you might be stuck, what you want to try, what you've tried before, and how I can best support you. So that is the quickest way to get support from me, because I really want to make sure that you have all of the tools in your toolbox to run your business effectively and as easily as possible using technology, namely marketing automation, business automation, and AI. So that's all I got to say about that. If you found this content valuable, if you got something out of it, I encourage you to like and share, because sharing is caring. And yeah, I will speak to you next time, and take care and be well. Bye.